Hey friends, I want to show you how simple this is. I'm turning my mineral powdered makeup into compressed pucks. It's really easy to do. You can literally do this with any of the powders. All you're going to need is the color of choice. So this is a blush, which I use as eyeshadow and as blush. It's called Smashing. You can see the color here. I love this one because it's a beautiful color for both spring and fall. Sometimes I go a little darker in the winter, but it's really nice because it has a teeny bit of shimmer in it, but it's more matte than anything. So I really like having more matte makeup and then adding shimmer later. And if you're over a certain age where you're starting to get, the crow's feet, the wrinkles happening, shimmer can actually accentuate those areas, like on your eyelids. So it's really a good idea to stick to the matte colors if that's an issue for you. And if you don't care, wear whatever you want. But just so you know, I am a professional makeup artist, which I've been doing. I don't practice anymore. I do Young Living full time, but I used to do makeup on brides, and I actually, more than anything, I had people come into, I'd owned a wellness spa prior to Young Living, and I used to have women come in all the time, and I would educate them and teach them how to do makeup, which I love. So I'm so excited that Young Living has like the best makeup I've ever used in my life. It's the cleanest, the best quality. It's really light and it wears for a very long time, which is amazing. So Smashing is the color that I label all of my containers. And I've been meaning to do this for a while. So I thought while I'm doing it, I'll teach you guys too. So the number on this guy is 504, and again, that's kind of the color that I'm using. So I would use this as eyeshadow and as blush. You can think outside the box. I just have a really old box from another blush that's empty that I saved, knowing that I was going to use it for this. So if you have any old makeup that's got like chemicals in it and you don't want to use it anymore, you can still use the container. So I cleaned it out really well with soap, and now I'm just going to make sure it's dry. So you clean it out really well with your Thieves hand soap, use a Q-tip, get in there, use your Kleenex, and just get all of the gross residue out. So the other thing you're gonna need is the Savvy misting spray. You can also use rubbing alcohol, but I love to use the misting spray because it's infused with essential oils. This is also nice. Once your makeup's done, you can spray your face like this. Whew, made my eyelashes stick. And then it will infuse your body with that and just kind of set your makeup. You can also use it to to do this version of putting your makeup on called foiling. So if I was going to use like the jet set or the blacks, the darker browns, and I wanted to do eyeliner or wanted to draw on my my eyebrows, you can just spray your brush. And I'd be using a smaller brush, and in the lid you just kind of mix the powder with the misting spray and then apply it, and it turns it into liquid, and it's really awesome. So I'm just going to use a popsicle stick. So I have I think you guys can see. If you're on, say hello. Okay, so I'm just going to take my powder of choice and I'm going to pour it in. Now for this container I'm going to need a lot, and probably actually if I can I'm going to use all of it, because it will, when you add the liquid, it feels really full when you're first filling it, but when you add the liquid, it kind of, it lessens the volume because it's a powder right now. So I'm just gonna put enough in there. I still have a little bit left in here, which is fine, I'll just leave it. So I kept when I used to wear MAC makeup, and then when I found out how bad MAC was for you, I immediately stopped using it. But I had like a big palette for eyeshadows and things, and I saved it. And so with all the eyeshadows from Young Living, we do now finally have compressed palettes. But if you owned previously to that, if you owned any of the eyeshadows that were powder, then you can use that, and you can use your old tools, your old boxes, and make it. So I'm just taking the spray off because it'll make a mess. So all I'm doing, I think you guys can see this okay, I'm gonna make a mess. I'll tell you, it makes a mess, so just be prepared for that. So you basically just take can you see that? You take the liquid and you're just mixing it together, and slow and steady wins the race with this, okay? So you don't want too much liquid. If you run out of powder, that's kind of it. It will dry. It will evaporate, so when you first do this, it's not going to be hard right away. You have to kind of wait for the liquid to dry, but you want to mix it the best that you can. Oh, I'm making a mess. This is always the way. I make a mess anyways. I'm super clumsy with this stuff, but just when you're doing it, know you're probably gonna make a bit of mess. You probably are gonna spill a little bit, but that's okay. The amount of spillage that I save by doing this is actually really good because I do spill often when I'm trying to get it out of the container when it's just a powder version. So I'm just gonna keep mixing. This doesn't take very long either, but if you're gonna do a whole bunch of them, you can kind of get it done all in one shot and then you're good. And it lasts quite a long time. Both the powder version and this powder last a long time, which is nice. And you just, again, you just wanna continue mixing until it's all blended together. And it actually smells really good. And it's cool because with this too, you can really see how gorgeous the color is once it's turned into a puck. So it's got, you'll see that kind of the amount of shimmer it's got in it. It's just a little tiny bit, but it's kind of nice on your cheekbones. It accentuates them, makes them a little bit more predominant, which is nice. So this is the color that I'm actually wearing right now. It's one of my favorites. I've been wearing it nonstop for the last month. Okay, so there we go. And I'm just using an orange stick to mix it. You can use whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. Then I'm just gonna take my Kleenex and I'm gonna wipe the excess that kind of fell here. It's easier to wipe it now than to wipe it later when it hardens. And I'll do a better job later, but I just want to do this for the sake of the video. So I would add a little bit liquid at a time and you'll kind of know, you'll mix it in. If you need more, you'll know, but that's what it looks like wet. So if I just let this sit now, make sure it's nice and level, let it sit. I don't remember how long it takes to dry. I usually just kind of leave it there, you know, for the afternoon or for the day. And then by the time I come back to it, it's all done and dry. And then you can use your awesome brushes from Young Living. This is the blush brush, which I love, and it's a beautiful brush. And then you just use that to apply, and then I always smile when I put on my blush right up into my hairline. And then I use my bigger brush. I don't know where it is right now. Oh, it's in my bag. And then I kind of blend it with my darker foundation powder on it. And that's it. And that's just an easy way to take your powder and transform it into a compressed puck. And it works just as well, but it's less mess, and it makes travel a lot easier because I would much rather travel with this guy than with this guy. It takes up a little bit less room, but also when you're like traveling, it's not as big of a mess because, you know, mineral makeup can make a mess. I make a mess every time I use it and I wipe the counter, which isn't a big deal. It's really not a big deal. You just kind of get used to it. Some women will lay down a towel or a paper towel and do all their stuff, and then they just throw that in the wash and then they're good to go. But thought I'd share that with you. Let me know if you love this idea, if you're gonna try it, and if you do, post your pictures below.